Hi everyone, it's TJ. I am doing a video post for discussion board number 2, talking about the impacts of mental health um, when it concerns nutrition. I have my questions and answers right here. I will discuss that. I will talk about the survey results concerning my nutrition and how it relates to information that I have learned. I will also talk about the importance of relationships and then conclude with self-care. The first question says, explain the link between mental illness and nutrition, especially carbs, proteins, healthy fatty acids, vitamins, and minerals. So the article that we read said that the link between mental illness and nutrition is a deficiency in nutrition, and identifies that it's more specifically related to vitamins, minerals, and omega-3 fatty acids. However, it does talk about carbohydrates, proteins, and things like that, and we'll talk about it here in just a minute. But I want to go back and say that it identifies the correlation between mental illness and the level of deficiency in nutrition or nutrients and the impacts that it has. So basically, I took that as meaning the poorer our diet or the less nutrients that we receive through our diet, the more likely we will experience mental health symptoms. It goes into talking about carbohydrates. We know that carbohydrates produce energy within our body. It also talks about how it triggers the entry of tryptophan into the brain. It does touch on serotonin as well, but tryptophan and serotonin both impact the neurotransmitter levels in our brain. Low carb diets also play a role in our increased depressive symptoms, leading to lower energy, fatigue, things like that. It then talks about proteins. It says that we have 12 essential amino acids produced by the body, with the remaining 8 that we need derived from our nutrition. The proteins or amino acids can affect the brain functioning and mental health. This is done through the decreased ability to produce dopamine and serotonin, which obviously dopamine is our feel-good chemical. And without dopamine or serotonin, we are left feeling more depressed. Omega-3 fatty acids. It talks about how our brain, or the gray matter within our brain, contains 50% or is 50% fatty acids, and we only derive those fatty acids through our diet. It also affects the biochemical and biophysical properties of cell membranes and can impact mental functioning. So without the omega-3 fatty acids, our functioning is not going to be at its optimal, which then can lead into further symptoms of mental illness. I won't touch on every single vitamin, mineral, and omega-3 fatty acid just because it will take up a considerable amount of time, but it talks about vitamin B12 delays dementia, which I felt was important to identify because when there's a deficiency in our vitamin B12, then obviously we're going to have increased potential for developing dementia in the future. It also affects the effectiveness of folate enhances the effectiveness of antidepressants. So when we use folate in conjunction with antidepressants, then we will see better results. Calcium it touched on as far as SSRIs impacting the ability for calcium to be absorbed into the bones. And if we are not getting enough calcium, then we're more likely to break bones and such. So that is it for kind of that aspect of it. The next question says, how did your results from the quiz line up with what you learned about mental health and nutrition? So my results were pretty poor. Um, my overall score was 30 out of 73. I'll go through and just kind of really break this down. So section breakdown, it says vegetables, I have 3 out of 20, so not too awesome. My fruit it says it's getting there, 5 out of 12. Um, Protein foods, meat, fish, chicken, I have 1 out of 7. So not too awesome. I mainly eat chicken. Um, Protein foods, vegetarian alternatives. I actually had an excellent. I got 4 out of 6. Grains. I also got an excellent. It was 7 out of 13. Dairy was outstanding with 8 out of 11. Water was excellent. I had 1 out of 1. I'm not sure what that really means. And then sauce and condiments, I had 1 out of 2, and it also said it was excellent. But overall, I need to improve. I would say that how it relates to, or how did my results from the quiz line up with what I learned about mental health and nutrition. Obviously, if my nutrition was more on point and well taken care of, I would probably feel better about myself, as far as I would get more sleep, or need less sleep to feel energized. My anxiety and anxiousness would be probably reduced somewhat. So I think obviously there's a direct correlation. I've noticed this in the past as well. When I've eaten healthier diet, eaten more regularly, things like that, I have generally felt better throughout the day. The next question: what are the benefits of having an active social life? So the other article that we read identified that we obviously, from social interaction and things like that, we have better health, longer lives, and higher rates of well-being. This also helps friendships and long-term social life, or socializing. Also helps. So friends can also help identify stress within us that we might not recognize. They provide as a sounding board, or give us basically somebody to listen to. They help us identify fears, hopes, and dreams, and are more likely to be understanding than if we didn't have anybody to talk to. Obviously, we'd only be talking to ourselves. So that is that question. Let me double check to make sure I'm not missing anything. What are the benefits? What are your close relationships, and how do you plan to sustain them? So the close relationships I have right now, or my major support network, would be my wife and children, my mother, and then I have a couple of close friends that I stay in contact with regularly. How do I plan on sustaining them? Well, with my wife and kids, I spend time with them all the time. Well, try to. I see my kids in the mornings, that much, I guess, and on the weekends. So what I will do to sustain them will actually be part of my self-care, which is having fun with family. So that's what I'll engage in. My mom, who is another part of my support system, I tend to talk to at least a couple times a week, just to catch up, be able to vent about the pressures of school and work obligations, and then just kind of get feedback on, ways to do things a little differently. I think it works out. She is also a social worker, so yeah, that works out good. And then my other friends, my 2 close friends, they're actually brothers. One lives just about 2 minutes away from where I do, and I see quasi-regularly, about once or so a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. His younger brother lives in Oregon, and so we stay in touch generally when he comes into town, or through text and phone calls. That is just done kind of sporadically, but I've known him for 28 years, I think now, so it's worked out for us. So that answers, I guess, those two questions. And then, what are 2 activities you have chosen from the Padlet to do this week for your 2 hours of self-care? So I decided to run, or more elliptical. I count it as running, but it's not. It's less impactful on the joint. So I have an elliptical here at my house, so I will engage in that. I think it's about time since I put it together this Christmas and have never used it. So I will do that. I plan on doing that right after I do this video for 30 minutes, and then I will continue to do it for at least 30 minutes until Saturday. And hopefully maybe longer than that, since I can use the calorie reduction because of my poor nutrition. And then the second one is having fun with family. So we just came back from kind of a holiday weekend. We went up to McCall. I know that was prior to this week, so what I also, I guess, anticipate doing is spending time with them over this coming weekend. I know my son needs to take back some library books and things like that, so we'll probably engage in that. We like to go to the store and go grocery shopping. We usually do a home or Lowe's run every weekend for some odd plant or replacement item. And then, so that will be my self-care. I have not really engaged in it. Like I said, I'm going to do the elliptical run starting today, and I'll do it for at least 30 minutes every day for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and complete it prior to reposting or writing my other paper. And then I will spend time with my kids and family, wife, on Saturday. So that's really all I have. I feel like I'm kind of rambling now, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and I look forward to seeing everybody's posts. Goodbye.